You ask that because Gaganyatri is a very ambitious mission as far as ISRO is concerned. The whole world is closely watching it, and in fact all the 4 astronauts were also being trained for Gaganyatri only. Because Gaganyatri will also involve certain technologies like docking, undocking, which will happen even in this. So once they move up, it will take about 28 hours. Then after 28 hours, it will reach about 400 kilometers from the surface of Earth, which is in American phraseology about 250 miles. And there the docking would happen. They would then enter into the space station and remain there for a minimum of about, say, 2 weeks or 14 days, could be extendable also. So the experience and getting accustomed to that kind of exercise, walking into, walking out, would be also required in case of Gaganyatri, and also several future experiments, and more so India's own space station. We plan to have our own exclusive space station by 2035, which will be known as Bharat Space Station. And for that also, this experience is going to come handy. I think the very fact that at this moment when we are talking to each other, we are sitting at a place far, far away from India. This is the Nice location in France. And over here also you find all the delegates who have arrived here for the conference discussing about India's participation in the International Space Station mission, which is going to happen, or which is going to be launched tomorrow. So that itself signifies the extent of importance and also the kind of interest it has generated across the world. And I think that's also been because, though of course you mentioned that the Indian astronaut, the last one to go up in the space was Rakesh Sharma, which happened about four decades back, to be precise, in 1984. But the main difference is that, one, of course, that was a Soviet mission, and Rakesh did not have much to perform because India's space program was still in a very early in the infancy stage, and therefore it was more of symbolic of the bonding that or the friendship that India and Soviet Union shared at that point in time. But unlike that mission, this time Shubhanshu Shukla is going to play a very important role. Of the 4 crew members, besides of course the commander, who happens to be US citizen, I think Shubhanshu is going to have the most critical role, because he is going to perform experiments which are exclusively going to have a bearing on the future space missions, not only those of India, also of NASA and other agencies. And I'm also glad to mention that keeping up the spirit of whole of science and whole of government, which Prime Minister Modi keeps emphasizing time and again, we got ISRO involved in an official MOU with the Department of Biotechnology, and as of now, Shubhanshu is scheduled to perform 6 sets of experiments, at least 6. A, for example, related to life sciences, about the physical and the physiological and the cognitive effects of being in space for a long while, which could affect the human body. B, of course, the responses or the behavioral responses resulting from constant watching of the computer screen, which is happens as mandatory for all these astronauts. C, of course, is going to also experiment on the body's responses in extreme conditions. So for that, the experiments will be carried out on water bears. Then also the effect of microgravity on muscle dysfunction. And besides that, some plant-related research, like how do the cyanobacteria behave in the microgravity, because cyanobacteria is a set of organisms who live by photosynthesis and generate their own energy, which could have a bearing on production of maybe food elements in the times to come, even in space. So these are very, very, very futuristic experiments which are exclusively assigned to Shubhanshu. And therefore, I think it's a great, great breakthrough. As I said, this is a moment which would have made our founding fathers proud, Vikram Sarabhai and Satish Dhawan. And I have no hesitation to add that India today has reached that pedestal where we are looked upon as not junior partners, not as followers, but as a partner which offers cues to others to follow. And this could be possible because of the reorientation of the space reforms, the opening of the space sector to the private players, which happened about 3-4 years back, and that could not have been possible without the political will of the government in place. And of course, for that I have to thank Prime Minister Modi. He has the capacity to take out-of-box decisions, to break the taboos of the past, because for 6-7 decades we got conditioned to live with the belief that space has to act behind a wheel of secrecy and it is not to be opened up to the private sector. But having given up that mindset, I think now we are following the same global strategies, same global parameters, in fact marching ahead of other nations as well. No, as I said, we are now equal partners, and in fact the decision to have an astronaut from India was taken, and the offer was made to India incidentally when Prime Minister Modi was on a visit to DC, Washington DC, when President Biden was in place. So you can see there is also a reflection of the recognition and acknowledgement of the Indian capability, Indian capacity, and Indian human resource, which is quite a departure from the earlier times when the capabilities of the Indians were not taken seriously, and that perception about India has also undergone a change. And Shubhanshu was selected because we were already training 4 individuals for the Gaganyatri mission. This was Group Captain Nair, Group Captain Angad, Group Captain Krishnan, and Shubhanshu was at that time wing commander, later on got promoted as Group Captain. So they were already undergoing a training process which was about to come to its culmination, and of the 4, 2 had to be shortlisted. Group Captain Nair is also there with Shubhanshu as a standby, but ultimately it will be Shubhanshu who will be taking off.